Get started.
Yeah,
Welcome.
we can. Before you do, I'm just going to let everybody know at the bottom of your Zoom, there should be a chat button. Highly recommend peeking in there because at the end of this, Jess is going to share some valuable tools that accompany the education she's giving today. Also, utilize it if you have questions and you want to ask them, but you don't want to forget and save it for the Q&A time. I find people like to park questions in the chat and then we get to them during the Q&A. If you're shy and you don't want to unmute yourself and ask a question, you can also park it there and I will ask it for you. At the end of Jess's class, we'll have a nice Q&A section where you can ask all the questions and Jess will give you all the answers. Without further ado, Jess, you can take over. Welcome.
Thank you. I am so glad to be doing this class with y'all. And please don't be shy. Like Elaine said at the end of the class, if you have any questions, this is going to be a conversation. I would love to go back and forth if we have the time. So please don't be shy. But yes, put your questions in the chat. One thing I do want to ask is if you could also put your Instagram handle so that if we want to put your information when we share the question that you're asking on YouTube, we can also put your Instagram handle. So feel free to do that. Alrighty, so let's get started. My name's Jessica Ramos. I am in Florida, a nail tech in Florida. I've been a nail tech since 2015. I've owned my own nail salon since 2016. And I have had over 12 employees that I've mentored and have all gone off on their own to run their businesses successfully. I also mentor nail techs virtually, which I make sure that I give them the tools that they need so that they can run their businesses successfully. And one of those tools is pricing. I found Light Elegance about 2018. And the reason I found them is because I'm a natural nail tech and I wanted to make sure that I used products on my clients that was going to be safe for them and safe for me to use. And the deeper I looked into Light Elegance as a brand, I found out that they are manufactured here in the US and that their products are HEMA free and that it was safe for me to use as well as putting it on my clients. So all these things are amazing and I absolutely fell in love with them. Fast forward to about a year ago, I became an educator for them. Actually, not, it hasn't even been a year. It's been I don't know, it's been less than a year, but here I am. And I am sharing this knowledge with all of you from the experience that I have. And I hope that it helps you. Um, One of the things that I want to make sure I mention is that if you are here today and you are trying to figure out how to price your services, take out your notebooks and make sure you write notes. Because I do plan on giving you a lot of information that I think is going to help all of you really figure this out and have the confidence that you need to price your services correctly so that you are getting the value that you deserve as a professional and you are able to run your business accordingly and for a long period of time. Okay. That's one of the things, one of my focuses, and one of the things that I absolutely love about what I can do with the knowledge that I have is to help nail techs grow and be successful in the industry. Okay. So make sure you're taking notes. I'm going to be sharing a file towards the end of the class. So just stick around and make sure that you are here at the end because I'm going to be sharing a tool with you that you are going to be able to download onto your devices and plug in some numbers. So make sure you stick around. Like we said, put your Q&A or put your questions in the chat. And if there's something that I say here that you want to go more in depth, we have more information on our Light Elegance website that we've actually posted some some blogs that speak about this specific topic. Okay, so we've done the work for you. You just got to go on the website. You can actually type in cost per service, so you could write that down, and that way you can go on the website later and check those blogs out. I do want to make sure that everybody's aware, because this is something that I had to kind of wrap my head around, is that we're all on different paths. And no matter your path in your career right now, I think what I'm going to be sharing today is going to be valuable to you. So just kind of take it for where you are in your journey. the numbers that I share may be above what you think you should be charging, or it may be below what you think you should be charging. So some of these numbers are subjective, but there are other formulas that you can use to get to the bottom line. Unfortunately, because of time, I cannot go into all of those details. I kind of created something that's going to fit into the time that we have today. But you can always reach out to me through social media, and I will be more than happy to keep talking about this subject with you all. Okay. Something I want us to kind of keep in mind is, because of the journey that we are in, the fact that we're all in different parts of our career journey, our life, or just how where you are in your business. What you're going to use this information for, it's to help you where you are. Okay. I have an example that I wanted to share with you guys that I kind of thought about. I just came from a vacation, and it was to the Dominican Republic, and we went hiking. We went up on a mountain to get to a waterfall, and the guide mentioned to us that in order to get to the most beautiful waterfall, we had to hike 7 hours. And then he followed up with that, and he goes, it's not that you're not going to see other waterfalls. You're going to see other waterfalls, but to get to the best one, it's going to take you a little bit longer. And so as we started walking, 30 minutes in, he goes, here's your first waterfall. It was beautiful, but it was nothing like the one in the 7 hour mark. So I say this story because I want you guys to kind of remember that you are going to start where you are, and you're going to price yourself in where you are right now, but you're not going to stay there. The key is to not stay there. All right. So just keep that in mind. The key is to get to the point where you have been doing this long enough and your price will match how long you've been doing it. Okay. And that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure that all of us understood, is that raising your prices is not a bad thing. Okay. It's just knowing when to raise it and knowing how high to raise it, using this formula that I'm going to share with all of you. It's going to help you to know exactly how you should raise your prices, based on facts, based on facts that are accurate for you. Okay. Because what might be accurate for me might not be accurate for you, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Okay. So the first thing you have to do is know your numbers. Okay. You have to know how much your products cost per service. And you basically want to break down every service by product cost, so use per client, by your time spent, and your disposables, your utilities, your rent is included and should be included in your price. Your licensing, so if you took any classes to get licensed, how much that costs, and divide that by a certain to figure out how much it would cost per service. So all of these things are going to be included, okay, in you figuring out how much doing business costs for you. Then you are going to also include, if you pay taxes as a business owner, you want to include the taxes, the downtime, if there's any cancellations. All of these things should also be calculated when you are considering or calculating how much it costs for you to do business. The next thing I want all of you to know and to kind of consider is knowing how much you want to get paid hourly. Okay. And I actually have a formula to figure this one out, but I can't go over that with you now because of time. But you should be calculating how much you want to be making an hour. And this one here was a little tricky because in preparing for this class, how do you price what you should be getting paid an hour, right? I think that's a question that we should all ask ourselves, is how do we figure that number out? And we shouldn't just be taking a number out the hat, right? We need to take a couple things into account. One of it is your experience. How are you a beginner? Are you intermediate? Are you advanced? There, you can always go on Google and figure out what the industry is paying for nail techs in a specific, whether they're beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So you can always ask Google, right? But then you have to consider what you have put in to bring value to what you are bringing to your clients. And that number is going to be something that you have to be honest about. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, because you're going to choose what that number is that you should be making an hour. And that way, at the end of the formula, when we get to the last number, it'll all make sense and you'll get paid according to how much you should be getting paid per hour. But definitely you're going to calculate that. In doing those two things, you're going to avoid being burnt out and overworked. Okay. A lot of nail techs, I've spoken to a lot of nail techs, and unfortunately, they don't see that they could do this as a career. And this is why I decided to do this class, is because I've made a career out of this. I have most of the educators on the team have made a career out of being nail tech. So it's definitely something that's possible. But it does take some work and it takes some getting organized. You have to organize yourself so that you can do this as a career and not be overworked and underpaid. Okay. One of the things that I think a lot of us might strive for, and you could raise your hand if this is you, or you can disagree with me, but I think that a lot of us strive to see less clients and get paid more, right? I don't think any of us want to be filled, have our schedules filled with clients to get the amount of money that we need to make a living, and then some, right? So making sure that you know those two numbers that I mentioned above is going to make sure that you do that. If your prices are too low, then you will have to see more clients, unfortunately. And it's okay, at some point in your career, again, we are all in different levels in our career. At some point in your career, that is okay and it's great. But eventually, as the longer you do that, that could get a little tiring. And so making sure that your prices match the value that you're giving your clients is extremely important. Okay. So that you don't get overworked and so you don't get burnt out. And so that you don't say, I cannot do this any longer, but you find other ways to stay in the industry and to do nails full time. Alrighty. So making sure that you understand that there's a perceived value and an actual value. Okay. I think that that's something that's important so that when you are calculating your prices, you do it correctly. A perceived value is a value that a client or someone that doesn't understand the numbers that went into the price will put on your services. Making sure that you are not pricing your services based on that is super important. Okay. You want to price your services based on an actual price. Okay. An example of that. Your services may not be for everyone, and I think that this is something that's important for us to understand, is that when you are figuring out what your actual price value is for your service, understanding that it's not for every client. Not every client is meant to be your client. Okay. And that's a hard one for a lot of us to understand. And again, we're in different levels in our career. Some of us are just starting off and we will take whatever we could get, right? And then there's some of us that are farther along in our career where we're kind of allowed to pick and choose who we allow to sit in our chair. And to do that, you have to consider the prices help you either open the door to bring more clients in, if that is what you're looking for, or kind of close the door a little bit and make it a little bit harder for certain people to walk through the door based on your prices. I hope that makes sense. And this is so weird to not have any feedback, but I hope you guys are getting it. But so that is one of the things that I hope everybody understands, is that you are not meant to see everybody. Okay. And having the right price point for your services is going to either attract clients to come and sit in your chair, or it's going to keep clients away that don't need to be sitting with you because of your value. Okay. And you will attract the ones that should be sitting with you because they value what you bring to the table. Okay. So this one, I do want to interact with you all. I'm going to make sure that I could see all of you that are logged in here, because I want you all to just take a minute and answer this question. I want you guys to think about it. Do you think that making a profit is bad? If you do, raise your hand. If you don't, I shouldn't see any hand raised. But if you think that making a profit or the word profit is a bad word, raise your hand. I don't see any hands. Good. Good. So making a profit is not a bad word. We should all be making a profit off of the services that we're making. What is a profit? right? Because I don't think we talk about this enough, but a profit is above your hourly rate, above the cost of service. A profit is something that you make extra to help your business grow. Okay. If you're not making a profit, unfortunately, that's called breaking even. And you cannot sustain your business or your career with just breaking even. You are literally going to be making just the right amount to pay for your hourly rate, right? And to pay for the products. And I don't think any of us want that. I think we want to be able to keep our business open, and the profit, what it's going to do is it's going to cover those moments where you get sick. I think all of us have gotten sick before. And when we get sick, what happens? We have to stop working. And as nail techs, if we're not working, we're not getting paid. So that profit is going to help kind of give you a cushion for those moments. It's also going to give you time to go on vacation if you want to take vacation. And if you're making a profit, you will have that ability to take a vacation and still have money that your business is, that, in your business. So profit is not a bad word. Okay. I want to make sure that we all understand that. Okay. Something that you could do to to make sure that you are making a profit, if you feel that your services are at a certain price point and you want to be making more of a profit, something that I would suggest or recommend that you do is create tiers. You can add signature services, or you can add signature things to your services so that you can raise your prices and offer that to your client in this pretty little package, right? But it's not costing you anymore. And so I think that that's something that would help you make a higher margin, profit margin, if you add value to what you are already doing. Okay. And an example is a gel manicure, right? I think all of us have heard of gel manicures. And at some point, some of us, if we're gel specialists, that was the service that we were offering, right? Eventually, the world's evolved. Light Elegance gave us all these amazing products. They came out with Jimmy Gel. They came out with their Lexi line, or they had their Lexi line, and then they added the Jimmy Gel. And so for us gel specialists, what did we do is now we started adding these services to our menus that, guess what, should bring more value to your service menu. And so when you added these services, I hope y'all raise your prices. Like, I really do hope you raise your prices, because a Jimmy Gel manicure is not equal to a regular gel manicure. The value price is not the same. A Lexi line manicure, let's call it that, it's not equal to a Jimmy Gel or a gel manicure, a basic gel manicure. All of these things are different tiers that you could offer your clients, right? So if we don't want to lose those clients that can afford a more premium price, then we have tiers and we can offer a less premium price service that is valued at that amount. We're not losing any money. We're not losing any clients, right? Everybody's happy. But to make a bigger profit, definitely add value to your services. So start with a gel manicure, add a Jimmy Gel manicure, and then go up and have another premium service, which is our Lexi line. Okay. I'm going to go into the spreadsheet now, which I'm super excited about. I thought this talk was going to take a little bit longer, but I'm super excited about what I'm going to share with you all right now. But before I go into that, and before I share what I'm about to share, which is going to be a tool that I want all of you to download onto your devices so that you can use this for your business. Okay. When we raise our prices, and I think that it's important for me to talk about this, and this is why I put this in my notes. When we raise our prices, it's key that we are communicating this to our clients. Okay. Some of us, like I said, we're in different parts in our career. Some of us are starting off and we're still building a clientele. It's important that you nurture that clientele so that it could grow and become the beautiful clientele list that you desire to have for yourself. But those of us that have been in the industry for a little bit longer and we have our client base, I don't think any of us want to necessarily lose clients. If they don't value what we're giving, then we should be okay with saying goodbye, and welcome the ones that will value what we're doing. But I think the key to keeping the clients that you love and you don't want to lose is going to be communication. Okay. So as we raise our prices, as you discover the value of your services and you raise your price accordingly, make sure that you communicate that to your client correctly. Okay. You don't want to kind of throw this bomb at them, especially in the time that we're living in right now. I, as a professional, as a business owner, I'm not oblivious to the reality that things are expensive and our clients, some of them are having a hard time keeping the lifestyle that they're used to having. But we shouldn't let that affect how we charge our prices. Okay. That's where the tiers come in. If they can't afford our premium service, then we offer them a less premium service that is within their budget. You never want to price your services on their pocket based on their budget. Okay. So yeah, but communicate, communicate, communicate. If you have the facts, it's going to make it easier for you to communicate this information to your clients so that they appreciate not just what you're giving them as a service provider, but they're appreciating your transparency. Okay. They're going to appreciate you as a person, as an individual. And more than likely, your client list will grow because they're going to keep referring you. And ultimately, that's what we want, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. And I want to show you all. Oh, we have some questions in the chat. I've just been chatting away. Let me see if there's anything I can answer now. Okay, not yet. All right. So I'm going to share this screen with you all. And so this is a calculator that I will be adding to the chat when we are done talking here, so that you guys can plug in the numbers that you have for your services. This is a service pricing calculator. I used our products. I used the Lexi line, and then I'm gonna plug in now the Lexi Fill, the Jimmy Gel manicure, and then I did one for nail art so that you guys can see when it's at a lower price point or kind of it varies, what your profit would be, what you should be charging, how to kind of calculate that. Okay, so here in this column, I'm gonna just kind of explain more or less what this is. The Lexi Line Fill, if we calculate this first number here, cost of material per service, this is on our website. So if you need this information, and that's the other part is where I'm sure some of you might have that question, well, where can I figure out how much this product is going to cost me per service? You could do the math, right? You could figure it out on your own, or you can go on their website and you can figure out, you can get the answers from us, okay, or from the product that you're using. A lot of the companies do the legwork for you. We know how much it's going to cost you per service because we've already done the work. Okay, so the Lexi line, it costs $2.50 per service. Okay, it should take you about an hour and a half, so time required in hours. And this one, you want to make sure that you're doing it in a decimal form. You don't want to put in fractions. You want to make sure that you do it in a decimal form. So it should take a more advanced nail tech about an hour and a half to do a Lexi line full set. If you take a little bit longer, then you put the time that is appropriate for you. Okay. How much you want to be paid an hour. So I just put this number in, $40 an hour. Okay. If you want to be making $20 an hour, which I said earlier, there is a formula to figure out how much you should be making an hour to cover the cost of living for yourself. But because of time, we can't go into that right now. But you put in the number that you figure out you want to make hourly in this field here. Overhead per service. So this would be your rent. This would be the water. This would be electricity. This will be anything else that you could think of that is not part of the service itself. Okay. So all the extra things, you're going to calculate that, kind of divide it per hours that you work, per client that you see. Okay. And that's how you're going to come up with this number. Again, there's another formula, but you have to reach out to me because I'll have to get that to you. Okay. And so once you plug in all these numbers, it's going to tell you what the cost of labor will be. Okay. In this case, that's not what I wanted. There we go. In this case, it should be $60. Okay. But if we mark it up, which is right, I put here the suggested markup is going to be 20%. So you're going to mark it up 20%. It should be anywhere between 10 and 30%, depending on how much profit you want to make. And so then that's going to mark it up for us even more. And it's going to bring it to $79 for this service if these are the numbers that you want to make. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and so the estimated profit is going to be $13.10. All right, so now let's do the fill. And if you have questions, please put it in the chat. Don't wait till we finish because you might forget. I just can't see the chat now, so I can't answer them until I go back to that screen. Okay, so the fill would cost us 83 cents. And I did get this from our website, so you can go on there and see what that is directly from our website. The desired hourly or the time required, it should take us about an hour to do a fill. And so here's something I do want to clarify. What do you consider a fill? Me personally, in my salon, I don't have fills. I don't offer fills. And I'll tell you why. A fill is something that you do or a service that you do within 2 weeks. If the client is coming in 2 weeks after they get their nails done, that would be considered a fill. In that case, it should take you an hour to do that service, okay? And if you're doing it in an hour, then this is kind of going to be the price point. Then you can give them a different price, okay? Than if you were to do a full set. The desired hourly rate, we're going to leave it at $40. The overhead expense, we already know it's $3, so we're going to plug that in, okay? And so how much would I be charging for a Lexi fill? I would be charging $53, okay? $53, or you can round it up. Honestly, like who charges $53? Who charges $79? But you round it up, round it down, whatever makes you happy. I would round it up and make it like an even number. So I would probably make this 55, okay? And so your profit would be about $8, $8 to $10 just from a Lexi fill, okay? And what's the profit? The profit is anything that's over what you needed to cover what you're using for that service. So in this case, you have enough here to cover for the product, you have enough here to pay yourself an hourly rate, and you have enough here to cover the rent and everything else that you're paying to keep your doors open, okay? And if you're working from home or a salon suite, this applies to you. You still got to calculate these numbers, okay? Just because you're working from home, it doesn't mean that you should be any less than if you were to be in a brick and mortar. Maybe a little bit less, but you got to do the math and figure out how much it's going to cost you, okay? Okay, so now let's plug in some numbers for the Jimmy Gel. A Jimmy Gel manicure would cost you, a price per service is $1.17, okay? The time required should be, let's give it an hour and a half, okay? Actually, let's use a higher number. Let's say I'm a beginner nail tech and it's taking me about 2.5 hours. Let's say 2.5 hours, okay? This is for my beginners. Overhead per service, desired hourly rate. As a beginner, I know that I'm still taking a little bit longer, believe it or not. Because I'm taking longer, it doesn't mean that I should be charging more. It actually should be the opposite. I should be charging less because I want more experience. I want more people to sit in my chair. And I want to be busy so that I can get faster, so that I can do this service more frequently. So I'm actually going to be pricing this a little lower. So hourly, let's say $20, right? I'm going to want to make $20 if I was a beginner nail tech, and it could be less. It could be, obviously we would figure that out. Or you would figure that out based on your expenses. Overhead per service, we're going to keep it the same, right? We're still in the same location. We still have the same rent. So we're going to say it's the same. Okay. So for a Jimmy Gel manicure would be $65, okay? With the 20% markup. So $65, I'm making a good profit, $10.83, right? So I hope this makes sense. This is the calculator that I want you guys to use to get yourself to see what the true value of your service is. And if you do this when you're speaking to your clients about the value of your services, you're going to speak with confidence. You're not going to try to explain to them why your manicure is a little bit more expensive than the manicure of the salon down the street, other than the fact that you're going to tell them, well, I use Light Elegance products and they're extremely luxurious. So you're going to make sure you let them know I'm using quality. Okay. And that's usually what comes with price, with a higher price point, is clients will attribute the price point with quality. Okay. What does that mean for you as a professional? And that's where what I said at the beginning comes into play, is you have to be honest. If your price is at a certain level, you want to make sure that your service matches that. that what you are giving them matches that. And that's where education comes into play. We're huge on educating technicians here with Light Elegance. So if you need further education, don't just go, don't allow what you learned in beauty school be enough. I personally don't think that that's even close to enough, but that's my opinion. Um, take more classes. Take more classes. We have a ton of classes on our website that you can schedule, that you can get yourselves educated and get your services up to par so that you can raise your prices to a point where they will match. And so as the client is sitting in front of you and they're getting that service done, they won't have an issue because you're going to be giving them quality, you're going to be giving them value. Okay. Let's see. I am done sharing this. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this screen. And let's see. I'm going to share, I think now would be appropriate to share the links. Okay. I want to take some time and I actually want you all to play around with it while we're on here. Take a look at it, see if you do have questions while I'm here, please ask. And we can figure some things out together. So I'm adding these to our chat. Let me make sure that it's going to everyone. Yeah, so it's going to go to everyone. Download the one that's appropriate for you. There is some that, yes, know your worth and charge tax. Hello, that's the profit. We're going to use the word profit. Yes, there's one for everyone. So if you have Adobe, you can download it and see it. If you have Apple or Mac or whatever, you can download any of that, all of them. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully you have it. Let me just check in the chat now and see if you guys asked anything that I can start answering now. If not, feel free to unmute yourself. We are now in our Q&A.
Confirming those files did land in chat.
They did. Good. Thank
Yes.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yes. So here's my IG. Thank you for sharing that with them, Elaine. This makes a lot of sense. Thanks, Diana. I'm glad that did make sense to you. Oh, thank you. Let's see if I pronounce your name right. Aliana? Elena? Elena, I think. I'm glad that that was amazing and helpful. I hope everything that I said today was helpful. Part of being able to charge your value is really a mindset, and in doing this and preparing for this class, that was one of the things that I thought was going to be super important to share with all of you is the fact that it's a mindset. If you have the right mentality, if your mind is where it should be as far as your value and what you bring to your clients as far as the quality and the service, then it's going to be a no-brainer. Okay. And so don't be scared after this class to do the homework and raise your prices. Raise your prices if you're not at the price point that you should be. Hopefully none of you are above the price point you should be at, because whatever. I don't know what you would do in that case, but definitely don't go backwards.
I was gonna say if you're higher, leave it alone. Shh.
Leave it alone. Absolutely. Leave it alone. Leave it where it is. And just keep showing up. Show up as a professional. Give them the best quality, the best service you can. Add a couple extra things to the salon or to your space so that the experience brings, it kind of makes it that much more special and worth every penny that they're paying. So yeah, raise your prices.
That's actually really good advice because I saw this cute IG. I mentioned it in another Power Hour weeks ago where dress like the clients you want to attract, right? So if you want high-end clients who are going to pay a lot, you have to look the part and
Yeah.
then add those, like a drink, or you may not be able to do alcohol, maybe a mimosa, but yeah, cater to your clients.
Right, 100%. And those clients will find you. Trust me, clients will find you. The right clients, the clients that you're trying to bring in, they will find you.
So I'm gonna say this wrong probably too. I think it's Helena, which is gorgeous, by the way. I love that name. She's asking, could you talk a little more about calculating tax?
Okay, so believe it or not, for services, I mean, I don't know what state you're in. Here in Florida, we don't have to charge taxes for services. We charge taxes for products. Um, when you calculate, when I say taxes, I'm talking about as a professional, as a 1099 employee, we should be paying our taxes. We should be doing it the right way. And at the end of the year, when you do your taxes, you'll find out what that year costs you. And you can actually work your way backwards. How many days, how many months did you work? How many weeks in the month did you work? How many how many days of, and so kind of figure that out and work backwards to get the number. And with most of these calculations, in order to get to the final number, you have to start with the end and work your way back. Does that make sense? So with your taxes, you would do it that way. Okay, just how much did you pay for the year? Divide that by the time that you worked. Okay, I hope that answered you.
Does
Any,
anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute your mic and speak up. Don't be shy. We're a small, I mean, well, we're not a small group. We have 17 participants, by the way. And I
yay!
would just like to add that I think this is the first time I have not seen anybody leave.
Oh,
Like, has
cool.
joined, has joined, has joined. Nobody has left.
Well, I hope this was valuable to all of you. I hope you guys really understood what I was sharing because I think this is going to be key to growth in your business, and as a professional, I think understanding what your value is, true value. And I don't use the word worth because worth is subjective and who puts a worth on anything? It's really a value. You bring value to what you're doing. So knowing what the value is, trust me, it's going to change your life.
I mean, it's not really a hobby. While most of us love our jobs and would do it for nothing, it's not a hobby. You got to pay the bills, you got to feed your family, you want to be independent and successful. It's okay. It's
Yes.
okay to charge your worth.
Yeah. Yes.
No questions? Come on.
I have a
Okay,
comment.
Go for
good.
it.
Hello. Hi, Jess. Hi,
Jackie.
Elaine. Awesome presentation for what I saw. Unfortunately, I had a meeting with a student, so I didn't see the whole thing, but it looks great. I downloaded the template too that you sent, which is awesome. And I do talk about this with my students when I'm teaching, but would you mind if I shared this?
Go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, this is great information. Like I always try and get them a cost breakdown and stuff, but yeah, 100%. This is excellent. So great for you for thinking of that. And just one comment, because I've taken so many different courses and stuff like that too, sales courses, management courses, stuff like that, just so everybody knows, because it's the hardest as a beginner, like getting your prices and everything too. We don't know what's in their wallet. Don't make assumptions for them.
Right.
We want to like undercharge because we feel bad, but we don't know what's in their wallet, and don't make assumptions that they can't afford it.
Yes.
More
Yeah.
than likely, they probably can.
Exactly. They're not going to be there if they can't. So don't undercharge.
Right. Something that I always try to tell the nail techs that I mentor is those clients that are sitting in your chair chose you. And if you understand that and you kind of grasp that idea, then you won't feel bad when you're checking them out and telling them to pay you. You shouldn't feel bad. They chose you. They knew that they were going to have to pay for what you're giving them, you know? So yeah, don't base what your value is on their pockets because you never know.
I think our first problem is we're artists, right? Everybody that gets into this business is pretty much an artist if they're doing nails. And I think as artists, we have a hard time not putting emotion into our business. And that's when you start to go, I'm going to charge them less because I feel sorry or whatever, instead of that analytical brain that would go, damn it, I got bills to pay. I am charging. In fact, I'm going to charge you more and I'm not even going to be sorry about it. It's
Yeah.
just a fact of life when you're an artist.
Yep. No, and think about that vacation you want to take. I just took a vacation and I didn't get paid for a day.
Okay, I do have one question I was going to ask you after, but while nobody's asking questions, was the 7 hours to the waterfall round trip or was it 7 hours there and 7 hours back?
7 hours there, 7 hours back.
Hot damn, that's like going to Machu Picchu.
It was going and coming,
I'm
but
impressed, sister.
you know, what
Oh,
Beautiful things. You take your time, right? You take your
I
time.
think that was a very good way to start this class. That's a really good explanation on where you were taking them in the class. I thought that was a great way to start, but I couldn't get over the 7 hours. I'd be like dying. I'd be at that waterfall going, who's carrying me back?
How am I getting back? Where's the plane?
Yeah, so everybody, oh, we have so many beginners. So I did include in the chat, if you scroll up, hers is, I want to say it right because I know it's always different. It's different than some of your other stuff. It's at Say Jess to Nails.
Yes.
Um, so make sure you visit her IG there, and she'll also be able to help you out if you leave a comment or anything. She's really great. You have so much education offerings too on Instagram. I think just following Jess is great.
Thank you. And I'm
Does
actually
anybody question?
tapped into TikTok recently, so I'm gonna throw that out there.
Are you?
I tapped into TikTok. So if you're a TikTok person, you can follow me there too. And I also have a YouTube channel that I just started. It's a baby channel, super, super baby. But feel free to follow me there too. So
Well, if nobody has any more questions, I do want to mention Jess does have a code for everybody. If you use at lightelegance.com Jess15, despite the number 15, you're actually going to get a 20% discount on your order. Okay, so please go ahead and use that. We also have other educational offerings, one in particular that's really big, and if you don't get on it now, October 13 and 14, Ashley, our educator, Ashley Biasella, is going to be in Redmond, Oregon at our warehouse giving a 2-day bachelor course, and there are a limited number of seats, and we just started announcing this class. So I don't think this thing's gonna last long. And so October 13th and 14th, I bet you this will sell out probably in the next few weeks. It always does. So hurry for that. If you're craving some more education, we also have LEU 2.0. It's been all redone, new videos. It's been updated with Jimmy Gel. So there's a lot of education there. And then one of my favorite things to suggest is our hashtag new to LE, which is a Facebook group we have. You have to be invited. It's private, but we have so many light elegance enthusiasts, I'd like to call you. And all of the education team are in there, and they're identified as educators. So this community not only gives you access to the educators and the education and answers to your questions, but I like the idea that you can ask other nail technicians who are using the products some off the rip ways they're using them that maybe a brand might not go, oh, you can mix this, this, and this, or you can use it with this and this. You get those like real world answers to people who have tried things and had success or tried things and failed. So I love that group. And of course, for this video, because I saw some of you ask, yes, within 24 to 48 hours, we will send you a link to the video as people who signed up for the live. So you'll get it in the email that you registered the Zoom with, and you'll get a link to that. And I believe we're going to include Jess's files, so you'll have those too in case you didn't get them off the chat. I think that's everything I need to mention. Jess, you did amazing.
thank you. I'm
so
so
awesome
passionate about this. I want to see you all succeed. I want to see you all making that money.
Yeah, I want some of this in the next power hour. All right, thank you so much, and everybody, thank you again for tuning in. We appreciate seeing you every week, and we love the fan base that keeps coming back and watching all of the classes, and we hope we always meet your expectations. Have a lovely Wednesday, everybody. Bye.
Bye.